Hello everyone. Self-quarantined people staying out of your probably the so-called official happy zones. Let me introduce to the beautiful person who I have today for this, I say the interview marathon. First time I'm doing it live though, and inviting from all the way from a different time zone, from a different country altogether, thanks to the inventions, thanks to the progressive, the synchronizations of a lot of scientific stuff for which today I'm able to invite Dipika. Dipika, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you. I'm really glad and honored to be part of your marathon.
Thank you so much. And I'm so happy that, even though we are way apart, where are you from, Dipika?
I am in Melbourne, Australia.
And I'm in India right now. The time is 8:14 with me, and I guess it will be somewhere around 2 o'clock for you.
1:44 p.m.
1:44 p.m. And this is one of the best things to introduce Dipika is Dipika has been doing businesses completely online. Would you mind telling something about it, more about like what exactly do you do and how you do and how technology is actually helping you to still stay at home, and the most hygienic way of doing business is online?
Yes. So I transitioned into working completely 100% online about 12 months ago.
Okay.
And in that time, I have set up my teams virtually. So I don't get dressed to go to an office. I get up in the morning, get dressed, send my children to school, and I sit in my office, or if I feel like in my at my kitchen bench or in the balcony, wherever I feel like. But the point is that I am able to work in my own comfort with people internationally, and that is going to be how technology is going to be used in the future. We are already seeing it. This is just expediting the process that was to come in the next maybe a couple of decades. It's going to come in the next couple of years, or maybe even sooner. So it's definitely where people are headed. Schools are headed, governments are headed, entrepreneurs are headed. So many are now forced to take their workshops they would hold in masses at halls, etc., to take all of that online. I have even seen online meditation come about as well. So meditation across Zoom in a meeting such as this. They have a conversation, they set intentions, perhaps switch on guided meditation, or the leader leads the team through a meditation session. Even that is coming online, not just work, but other parts as well. It's just all moving online.
Okay. I guess this is the next version of working. The next version is going to be the home corporate or a home corporate. I don't know. Might be a new terminology can come in, and it's I think one of the best way to the fastest network, the fastest business. Even though there is a new article that I've just published in LinkedIn also about business networking, I think soon this is going to be completely virtual, and a time would come probably will be just I don't know, there is a thin line between your personal and professional life as well also, right? Once you're getting into this online system of working. But I'm just skipping the entire, the context of this interview is, the purpose to do this is to have right values to share with, people around us, and engage them for this entire quarantine period, which has been already called as the Janta Curfew, or, the better verb of this, like social distancing in India today, the 22nd of March. So the purpose of this entire interview was to ask you about some of the probably the top challenges that we have seen, and ultimately connecting to the dots of this probable issue of this pandemic, the worldwide pandemic which is happening. And if I can connect, like, this is, I feel, is all about the human potential and the confidence that they get inwards, when you influence inwards and find a probable solution, or even you find the problem, in fact, or probably find the intensity of the problem, and then we try to cure that. So let me ask you, what are the kind of, or probably give me one or two examples of the biggest challenges. I think one good example that you can help me out is, there is a time, or probably there was a time when you got onto this online business, right? There definitely has been some challenges which either navigated you or guided you or forced you to opt in for this home-based uh, way of working. Would you mind talking about that? Or you have something else also you're free to do?
Yeah. So what guided me to move from, so I did hold a corporate job, a good
Mm-hmm.
senior, well-paying corporate job for 10 plus years in IT.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to a point where I was spending more of my energy, my mind, working for someone else, thinking about the success of someone else, how to help them, rather than focusing on what it is that I want.
Mm-hmm.
What is it for me? What's it like? From the time you get up in the morning, rush to get that bus or the train, or get stuck in traffic to get to a job that is about someone else.
Yep.
And doing it over and over, you sort of lose your own purpose.
Yep.
You lose the meaning in it for your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you're interacting with your family, you think you're present, but you are so overly consumed with not
Yeah.
just in, but the accountability as you move into a more senior role, the accountability, oh, I'm responsible for this. What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't fail? It
Yeah.
falls back to me. We're always engaged. And with connected technologies, like you have your phone on call 24/7. If something doesn't work, they can give you a call in the middle of the night. So you never really switch off. You are
Oh.
never really present with your family, let alone with yourself. So there
Mm.
came a time when I just started questioning, like, is this important for me? And when I contemplated on that, I realized building someone else's business wasn't really important for me. Spending time with my family was more important. That will give me more fulfillment. So when I left, I didn't know what I will be doing. I just knew I had had enough of it.
Mm.
It had to stop.
Mm.
So I took the bold move. I left the role. And I suppose when I reconnected with myself, I realized what it is that I want for me
Mm.
and my
Mm.
family. And what
Mm.
was really important was time.
Mm.
I really wanted that time with my children, with my husband, at home, being a mom, being a mother, but also because I had been working continuously for so many years, I knew I couldn't just completely shut down and be a housewife.
Mm.
I had a professional outlook. I had to be connected, be growing, be learning at the same time. So this is just the perfect platform which provides for me the balance of
Mm.
spending the time with the family, being the wife and the mother, and at the same time, on my own path, being the entrepreneur that is connected with the professional world as well. So
Nice.
yeah, I think I've just found the right balance that works for me.
Amazing. So can you tell me, Dipika, about that particular day and your probably your thinking and your thought processes, what was going on inside the day when you switched, the day when you said, okay, enough is enough and let's go back. Can you just explain, like, how was your feelings?
You see, I suppose it wasn't one day.
Yeah,
It,
I
it,
know.
it was over time that, you know, how when you stretch a rubber band, you keep stretching it, you keep stretching it, you keep
Nice
stretching it.
analogy.
And
Yeah.
then when you don't know it's going to snap, it just snaps. So one day it happened. I just
Yes.
had enough, not up to here, up to here perhaps. And I knew this was not going, like, this was not going to work. The travel time,
Yeah.
dropping off my children to early childcare at the time, one child, to early care before he starts school at 9.
Hmm.
And then he takes himself to aftercare, and I'm picking pick him up by 5:30 and sometimes even 6 p.m. So I don't see him from 7 till 6. Oh, well, I wasn't dropping off at 7, but I drop him off by 8:15, 8:30 till about 5:30. And it was breaking my heart. He was only in year 1, like 6 years old, and it was just breaking my heart. So I wanted to pick him up at school, after school at 3:30. And I did that for a couple of days. I worked from home. My company allowed for that. I went and picked him up from school, and I just realized that was a better feeling for me. And when he comes home, I'm there. I've got afternoon tea for him. I can play with him, and that is just priceless. It's just priceless. So it was a decision that happened over time. But when the final day came, like I decided sometime in November 2018, not from January, I'm not going back to work. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm taking a break now, resign, leave work, spend time with family, spend New Year's and Christmas, and then I will think about it. So it was, because the decision was in the making for so long, it just felt right. The light just went on, the rubber band just snapped, and it felt right.
Okay, but I'm sure, there are, with a lot of happiness on the other side, there are also a lot of sacrifices as well. Yeah, and now
Yes.
since you are already, smiling on that, go ahead, let know more about it.
Yes, there always is. You have to give to get.
Yes, you have to give to get.
So, yes, there is always a balance of giving, to give and get. So from that day on, I did not see a regular good income getting deposited in the bank every month, every week.
Yeah.
So that was, I suppose, the biggest, because I had worked myself up to a good senior role in my technical field. So, and that role also gave me quite a bit of significance just
Right.
for myself. So I had to let go of that as well. So, and I suppose it's what I had studied for 4 years and then worked hard towards, and it was all just gone, given away in a moment. So those were the sacrifices, and whatever I was to pick up, I was going to start from ground zero.
So how does it feel when you are at a peak of your expertise or your professional life, and one day, not even one day, probably the next very moment, okay, just snap it out, and today we are again starting from scratch. I mean, it needs, I can understand, because I think I personally have that similar experiences, but I would like to know from you, how was all that energies, how did you gather to manage as a working mom and managing the professional attributes of yours from that level and now where you are?
You see, I suppose that experience can be different for different people, right? It's it dependent upon how confident you are in your own ability, how confident you are that you will make it in whatever that you choose to go with.
Right.
And I just knew, like, I know that I am the type of person that if I choose to do something and I throw myself in it and I dive, I know that I can swim to the other side. You throw me into the deep end. I have that confidence in myself. So I had that with me. I've got the winning attitude. I know I am very hardworking. I will give whatever it takes. So I'll give you an example. So now during school holidays, I've got my kids at home through the day. There are many times that I get up at 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m. and get my day's work done by 7 or 8 when the family.
Nice.
You know, so it's, I don't want to paint the picture that it's all rosy and it's all great. I'm working from my balcony and from the kitchen table. While it is great, there is something that you give as well. So I get into bed 7:38 with my younger child, and whatever I get, 5 or 6 hours, and then I'm up in the morning. I do my morning routine. I get stuck into work, and I get very productive work done, focused work, from about 3:30 till 7:38. That's just one example.
So, and how do you see 1 day, 2 day is fine. That self-discipline, that ritual is fine. But I would like to know the secret sauce behind your constant Duracell.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it to self-discipline because I am the last person who is self-disciplined. I enjoy my um, Netflix. I enjoy my late nights. I enjoy those things as well. But what allows me to keep focusing is that I have some end goals,
Mm-hmm.
and focusing on the end goal is what allows you to take the next step or
Yeah.
take the next day, even when it is hard. So if you have a goal for, say, December,
Mm-hmm.
I have set goals for my November 2020. That is when it's going to be 2 years. And by November 2020, I know that I will surpass my corporate income that I had built myself towards in 10
Awesome.
plus.
Awesome.
So, thank you. And that doesn't happen if you don't put in the work.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. Now,
So you break
my,
it down into monthly goals.
yes,
And if I don't achieve my goals for January, if I don't achieve my goals for February, my goals for March, there is no chance I'm going to achieve my goals for November. So how
absolutely.
committed am I for my November goals? That's all that determines. I am very committed. Like I want to have that happen.
Right.
So working hard in January, the results in November, and that's how I can get up at that time, and that's how I can keep going and keep working through. Like it's it's all in the mind, basically. It's what stories you tell yourself.
Yeah.
It's not willpower, it's not self-discipline. It's what outcomes do you want, and that drives your action.
Amazing. I'm just noting down all these points of, I think the glory points for me. And, you set
I'm
an
sure
example
Amit,
also.
you have some points to share with me as well. Maybe some tips that you can share with me that would help me with working more efficiently, maybe.
Yeah, see, there are definitely, tricks and techniques and uh, what you call this, smart hacks are always there. They're like
Yeah.
productivity hacks. But in the same time, also, everything is baseless and useless unless and until you set your mind, body, and soul into that same alignment. And,
Yes.
people talk about mind and soul kind of thing, but I say there is one more organ which is more important than both of them, and that is called as the gut, the guy who actually works, right? He can think, he can feel, but someone has to make the body to move. You have to do something. I mean, just training and uh, the information overload is not going to help, right?
Mhm.
So the day when you thought of, okay, let go of all the things that I have and you started, you have to do some actions because that's the only way. I mean, you need to move somewhere. You have to take your finger and press that button also. Okay, I quit. Okay. And
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to say no. So for me, if I need to give you something, I think the power of no is the only way to power of yes.
Yeah.
Your
You know,
confidence comes with the no's actually.
I could not agree with you more. The day that I said no to my job
Yeah.
is first time in my entire life I said yes to myself.
Yes.
I said
Uh,
yes, what would make me happy? And I
yeah.
suppose to answer your other question, yes, it's about the goals, but you also have to be doing something that you enjoy. So if I'm doing the hard work at odd times, I enjoy it. So what's not to wake up about or continue going about?
Yeah. I want to share a kind of a small story. This thought of sharing this moment is, I was back then when I was working with medical and healthcare kind of institutions. There was a time when I was working with cancer patients, and cancer patients are not always the blood cancer kind of. There might be tumors, there might be stuff, there might be other things can happen. And I'm just sharing you. This is something that happened. This lady is no more. She has already left us. But I could see there are a couple of things that she did to become a kind of a big inspiration for me and the people who were working with me. And she had got something which had to, I mean, on the left hand, she was not able to perform the normal tasks, and she had a kind of melanoma sort of a thing which had to be cured. And uh, the doctors were all giving her all the scientific informations of how it is spreading and all these things. But this is how you take the information and how you actually enact it. Is that okay? Let me start working on this hand. If this is a side which is not functioning, this is something which is not workable. Can I do those kind of stuff which probably this part cannot do? And I saw first time the shift of thought process. You know, you will always find the blind can actually hear more, the deaf can actually see more. You know, the details. You got it? What I'm trying to say. And
Yes.
this is something which I think it's incredible power of mind. And this is all inwards. And this starts with that action. Okay, right now, today, right now, at this point of time, let me see if I want to write with my left hand, even though I'm a right-handed guy, I start writing. I know my writing is going to be horrible. You know, it might not be like any purpose, which can be legible, but I still start to write from my left hand. That's the day you accept that you are not that great with this present ability, but still you go on perfecting it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and 4 days, and you start living with it. So just sort of sharing you this.
Yes. Thank you.
And this is very touching because every time, you know, we use certain power of our mind and body, but we sometimes do procrastinate. Sometimes we are scared. Sometimes we are talking about you know, the inner beliefs, and still we are there. So probably I think this is a good time to share this all this thing, because uh, there are a lot of people who are right now, you know, at a point where survival is tough for them. And there are a lot of people who have no idea what is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the statistics. There are a lot of rumors are there. A lot of people are buying like anything. I mean, the people who can afford, they are like stocking up and piling up things. And that shows about the other side of what exactly going on their mind. Whereas probably me and you are trying to figure out how we can better engage people to see what the best values can come out of this small discussion which is happening. So before we say to the next level, do you have any message for, now you know the entire purpose of this interview. I would like to ask you any message that you want to give it for people who are working from home?
Working from home, yes, it can be quite a different concept for many. I mean, we were already, a good percentage of the workforce in the corporate field had already started working from home, so they are a little bit experienced. But doing it consistently, and I suppose doing it when you feel forced to do it, you are in a different state. You feel confined or constricted. It's not by your own free will, so that gives you a little bit, you know, it tenses you up a little bit. It gives you a bit of uncertainty and anxiety. But just knowing that this too shall pass.
Yes, I think
And
the hope is a beautiful thing. Probably we can do a video sometime else, and we can talk about hope and all those things. Anything else that you want to add up before we, you know, conclude this interview?
I'd just like to say that it's a very important time to, you know, you've been forced to stay indoors. Kids are at home in many places, so make good use of that time. Spend time with your family, because we've spent so much time just doing, rushing, getting to, you know, everything so that the next thing can be done. You know, we do this so that we can do that, and then we do that so that the next thing can be done. But now take the time to be with yourself, spend some time with yourself, spend time with your family, look at the bigger picture, and be positive, and
Mhm.
know that this too shall pass. Yes, it's not easy for a lot of people,
Yes.
but keep positive, look at the bright side, look at the long-term vision, and this too.
Yeah, there is
I suppose that's
definitely a tomorrow.
for everything.
Nice. So with that, Deepika, thank you so much for the time that you have given with me. I do understand you are a busy mom, entrepreneur mom, and there are a lot of things are there. But still, if you have made this so far, getting and setting aside a time, that shows your commitment. That shows about that your intention, the positive intention, because these are, I think, all the leadership qualities required. Even though you are a solopreneur, even though you are distanced from the corporate world, but you are still connected way thousands of kilometers, and still we are talking and trying to do something good. And this is also one more thing that I figured out is only entrepreneurs are those people who can do these three things: finding a problem, or finding the intensity of the problem. Third, might be finding someone who can solve the problem or solving the problem themselves. And today I found out the fifth element with you is, even though I might not be able to find the problem or find the solution, but still I can listen to you. I can share something good values. I can still motivate and inspire you from wherever you are to the next level. I think we need those kind of entrepreneurs as well. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Dipika, once again. And viewers, if you have any sort of information that you want to share with this, it's an amazing morning motivation also for me, a lot of learnings as well from Dipika. And thank you so much for listening to us, and share if it is something that requires you to share, or else save it for probably some kind of tips and tricks that you can touch base with Dipika. I'll probably connect and tag Dipika also in the message here. I'm sure we're more open to learn from each other, and anything that is possible for us to share any kind of information with whatever we do, we are glad to support you. Right, Dipika?
Yes, for sure. And I hope that my story inspires someone, anyone,
Sure.
and if that can be achieved, then I think my time was invested very well today.
Thank you so much, Dipika, and namaste once again from my side.
Namaste, Amit.